Have you ever wondered why some people seem to bounce back from life's hardest hits while others crumble under pressure? What if I told you that one particular personality type, the INFJ, possesses a unique kind of mental strength that most people simply don't have? You know, those people who seem calm in the storm, who can handle criticism without falling apart, who bounce back from betrayal stronger than before. There's a good chance you're looking at an INFJ. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of INFJ psychology to uncover 11 powerful reasons why these rare individuals, making up only 1 to 3% of the population, are mentally tougher than the vast majority of people around them. If you're an INFJ yourself, get ready to feel validated. If you're not, prepare to be amazed by the incredible resilience hiding behind those quiet, thoughtful exteriors. 1. They've mastered the art of emotional processing. Let's start with something that sets INFJs apart from day one: their relationship with emotions. While most people either suppress their feelings or get completely overwhelmed by them, INFJs have developed an almost supernatural ability to process emotions in a healthy, productive way. Think about the last time you felt really angry, heartbroken, or scared. What did you do? If you're like most people, you probably tried to distract yourself or immediately sought someone to vent to. But INFJs? They do something that most people find terrifying. They sit with the emotion. Picture this. An INFJ gets their heart broken. Instead of immediately jumping into rebound relationships or diving into work to avoid the pain, they'll often retreat into solitude and actually examine the heartbreak. They'll ask themselves, what is this pain trying to teach me? What patterns led to this situation? How can I grow from this experience? This constant emotional processing builds what psychologists call affect tolerance. Every time an INFJ works through a difficult emotion instead of avoiding it, they're literally strengthening their ability to handle intense feelings without being overwhelmed by them. Most people have the emotional equivalent of couch potato syndrome. They avoid emotional discomfort so consistently that when real challenges hit, they don't have the psychological muscle to handle them. But INFJs? They've been doing emotional heavy lifting their entire lives. 2. Their intuitive powers create unshakable inner confidence. INFJs possess what Carl Jung called dominant introverted intuition, which basically means they have an incredible ability to see patterns, connections, and possibilities that others miss entirely. But this isn't just some party trick. It's the foundation of unshakable inner confidence. Imagine you're in a meeting at work, and everyone's excited about a new project. The numbers look good, the timeline seems reasonable, and leadership is fully behind it. But the INFJ in the room has a nagging feeling that something's off. 6 months later, the project fails spectacularly due to market changes that nobody saw coming, except the INFJ. This happens to INFJs constantly. They have hunches about people, situations, and outcomes that seem to come from nowhere but turn out to be remarkably accurate. Over time, this creates intuitive confidence, a deep trust in their inner knowing that becomes unshakable. Most people feel anxious and uncertain because they're constantly surprised by life. But INFJs have developed an early warning system that helps them prepare for challenges before they become crises. When you can sense undercurrents that others miss, that creates a form of inner security that external circumstances can't shake. 3. They're comfortable with solitude and self-reliance. Let's talk about something that terrifies most people in our hyperconnected world: being alone with themselves. In an age where people check their phones constantly and feel anxious without immediate responses, true solitude has become almost extinct. But for INFJs, solitude isn't just comfortable, it's essential. Most people are terrified of silence because when the external noise stops, they have to face whatever's going on inside their heads. But INFJs have spent years developing a different relationship with solitude. They can sit in silence for hours without feeling lonely or bored. This comfort with solitude translates into incredible mental strength because it means INFJs don't need constant external validation to feel okay about themselves. They're not desperately seeking approval or reassurance from others to maintain their sense of self-worth. INFJs have developed what psychologists call internal locus of control. They've learned to validate themselves, to find meaning and purpose from within rather than from external sources. They can receive criticism without being devastated, praise without being inflated, and rejection without being destroyed. 4. They see meaning in suffering. Here's something that might sound controversial. INFJs have an almost unique ability to find meaning and purpose in their pain. While most people see suffering as something to avoid at all costs, INFJs have learned to view it as a teacher, a catalyst for growth, and even a source of strength. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote about how finding meaning in suffering can sustain people through the most horrific circumstances. INFJs seem to have this understanding built into their psychological DNA. When an INFJ goes through a difficult period, whether it's a painful breakup, job loss, or health crisis, they don't just endure it. They actively look for the lessons, the growth opportunities, and the ways this experience might help them serve others better in the future. This ability to extract meaning from suffering is one of the most powerful forms of mental toughness imaginable. It transforms INFJs from victims into warriors, from people who are broken by their experiences into people who are strengthened by them. 5. Their perfectionism drives incredible resilience. INFJ perfectionism isn't usually about appearing perfect to others or meeting external standards. It's about living up to their own deeply held values and ideals. They have an internal vision of who they want to be, and they're willing to work incredibly hard to align their reality with that vision. This creates what psychologists call intrinsic motivation. They're driven by internal factors rather than external rewards. When an INFJ faces a setback, they don't just give up. Their perfectionist drive kicks in, and they start analyzing what went wrong, how they can improve, and what they need to do differently next time. They're willing to fail, learn, adjust, and try again because they're not trying to impress anyone else. They're trying to become the best version of themselves. This kind of perfectionism builds mental muscle through constant challenge and growth. 6. They have exceptional emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is one of the strongest predictors of success and resilience in life. And INFJs? They're practically emotional intelligence virtuosos. Their natural empathy means they can read emotional situations with incredible accuracy. They can sense when someone is upset before that person even realizes it. They can detect underlying tensions, unspoken feelings, and hidden motivations that others miss entirely. But here's what makes this a source of mental toughness. INFJs have had a lifetime of practice dealing with not just their own complex inner world, but also absorbing and processing the emotions of everyone around them. This constant emotional workout has built their capacity to handle intense feelings without being overwhelmed. They've learned to feel deeply without losing themselves in those feelings. Most people are emotionally reactive. Their feelings control their behavior. But INFJs have developed emotional mastery. They can feel everything without being hijacked by those feelings. 7. They're natural systems thinkers. One thing that makes life feel overwhelming for many people is the sense that everything is random and chaotic. But INFJs see the world differently. They're natural systems thinkers, constantly looking for patterns, connections, and underlying structures that explain how things work. This systems thinking creates mental toughness because it helps INFJs understand that most problems are part of larger patterns, which makes individual challenges feel less personal and less overwhelming. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" they think, "What system or pattern is this part of, and how can I work with it?" Systems thinking also helps INFJs identify leverage points, small changes that can create big results. Instead of feeling helpless in the face of complex problems, they can usually find creative solutions that others miss. When you understand how systems work, you feel less like a victim of circumstances and more like an active participant in shaping your reality. That shift in perspective is a massive source of mental strength. 8. They transform pain into purpose. Here's something truly remarkable about INFJs. They have an almost magical ability to transform their deepest wounds into their greatest sources of strength and service. They don't just heal from their pain. They use it as fuel for helping others. Many INFJs report that their most difficult life experiences, childhood trauma, mental health struggles, relationship betrayals, eventually become the foundation for their life's work. They become therapists, coaches, teachers, or advocates specifically because of what they've been through. This ability to transform pain into purpose is incredibly mentally toughening because it means that no experience, no matter how difficult, is ever truly wasted. Every challenge becomes potential fuel for future growth and service. When you know that your struggles might someday help someone else going through something similar, it becomes easier to endure them. When you understand that your wounds might become your wisdom, then suffering takes on a completely different meaning. 9. They have incredible long-term vision. Most people live their lives in reaction mode, responding to whatever crisis or opportunity is right in front of them. But INFJs are natural long-term thinkers, constantly considering where they want to be in 5, 10, or 20 years. This long-term orientation creates mental toughness because it helps INFJs endure short-term difficulty in service of long-term gains. They can sacrifice immediate pleasure for future fulfillment. They can persist through temporary setbacks because they can see the bigger picture. When you're focused on long-term vision, daily frustrations and setbacks don't derail you as easily. You understand that success is a marathon, not a sprint, and you're willing to pace yourself accordingly. INFJs also tend to have a strong sense of personal mission or calling. They're not just living day to day, they're working towards something meaningful. This sense of purpose provides incredible motivation to push through challenges that might stop someone who doesn't have that deeper why. 10. They're masters of delayed gratification. In the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment, researchers found that children who could delay gratification were more successful in virtually every area of life decades later. Well, INFJs are basically the champions of delayed gratification. Their natural tendency toward perfectionism and long-term thinking means they're willing to work hard now for payoffs that might not come for years. They'll spend months or years developing a skill, building a relationship, or working on a project without immediate rewards because they can envision the eventual outcome. This ability to delay gratification is directly linked to mental toughness because it requires consistently choosing difficulty in the present moment for the sake of future benefits. Most people quit when things get hard because they need immediate relief from discomfort. But INFJs have trained themselves to sit with discomfort, work through it, and trust that persistence will eventually pay off. 11. They've learned to trust their inner wisdom. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, INFJs have developed an incredible trust in their own inner wisdom. Through years of introspection, reflection, and experience, they've learned to distinguish between the voice of fear and the voice of wisdom, between ego-driven desires and authentic knowing. This trust in their inner guidance system creates unshakable mental strength because it means they don't need external validation or approval to make decisions or feel confident about their choices. They've learned to be their own authority. When faced with difficult decisions, most people look outside themselves for answers. While external input can be valuable, people who rely too heavily on it often feel confused and uncertain because they get conflicting advice from different sources. But INFJs have learned to quiet the external noise and listen to their inner voice. They've developed the ability to access their own wisdom, even in complex situations. When you trust your inner wisdom, you can make decisions with confidence even when others disagree with you. That kind of inner authority is the foundation of true mental toughness. Why this toughness often goes unrecognized. It's important to acknowledge why INFJ mental toughness often goes unrecognized. INFJs don't typically display their strength in the loud, aggressive ways that our culture often associates with toughness. They're not the people who brag about their accomplishments or put on displays of invulnerability. Instead, their toughness is quiet, internal, and often invisible to casual observers. They might seem sensitive or even fragile on the surface, which can lead others to underestimate their incredible inner strength. They feel deeply, but they don't always show how they're processing those feelings. This can be frustrating for INFJs who sometimes feel like their strength isn't seen or appreciated. They might be labeled as too sensitive by people who don't understand that their sensitivity is actually a source of strength, not weakness. Conclusion. So there you have it, 11 powerful reasons why INFJs possess a unique kind of mental toughness that most people simply don't have. From their masterful emotional processing to their unshakable trust in inner wisdom. From their comfort with solitude to their ability to transform pain into purpose, INFJs have developed psychological muscles that are truly remarkable. If you're an INFJ watching this, I hope you feel validated and empowered by recognizing these strengths in yourself. Your sensitivity isn't weakness. It's the foundation of incredible strength. Your tendency to feel deeply, think complexly, and seek meaning isn't a burden. It's a superpower that the world desperately needs. Stop apologizing for your depth. Stop trying to fit into boxes that were never designed for you. You are not too much, too sensitive, or too intense. You are exactly what this world needs. And if you're not an INFJ but you know one, maybe now you understand a little better why they seem to handle life's challenges with such grace and resilience. Behind that quiet exterior is a warrior who has been training for battle their entire life. Mental toughness isn't about being invulnerable or emotionless. True mental toughness is about feeling everything and still showing up, facing uncertainty with inner knowing, and transforming your wounds into wisdom that can help heal the world. That's exactly what INFJs do every single day, and that's why they're mentally tougher than most. The world needs people who can sit with pain without running away, who can see possibilities in impossible situations, and who can love deeply without losing themselves. The world needs INFJs, and their quiet revolution of authentic strength is changing everything, one meaningful connection at a time. What do you think? Are you an INFJ who recognizes these traits in yourself? Or do you know an INFJ who embodies this kind of mental strength? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into personality psychology and personal development. Remember, your sensitivity is your strength, your depth is your power, and your ability to transform pain into purpose is your gift to the world. Keep being amazing,